So let me get to the place here. So it says, the Little Mermaid director explains why he was shocked by the attention Halle Bailey's casting received. The better headline was the one here from MovieWeb that says, the Little Mermaid director says there was no agenda with Ariel's casting.
If you even need to answer that question of was there an agenda, then you're already in a bad position. So his name is Rob Marshall, and he was talking to Entertainment Weekly yesterday. His comment read as follows. We just were looking for the best actor for the role, period.
Of course.
The end. We saw everybody and every ethnicity. That voice is something so signature and ethereal and beautiful that it captures the heart of Eric, and he looks for her for the entire film. Halle still had that freshness in herself. As soon as we cast her, we were really thinking in terms of how we could make this her Ariel. It's funny that he said that, though, because I remember the interview that Halle Bailey did at D23. She recalled Rob Marshall devising a plan to incorporate her personality and her appearance into Ariel from the very beginning of her casting, especially and including her dreadlocks.
Yep.
Like, he was all about it from the very beginning in a way that I don't even think Halle Bailey planned.
So it's weird because it's not really, like, at this point, you're fundamentally changing so much of the character. Like, look, I have no problem with that, but just be honest. Like, my big problem here is the lying. Like, don't pretend like there wasn't some type of discussion you had in the boardroom. You know the fallacy that they always make? They're like, if two people have the exact same resume, like, who do you hire? First of all, there's no such thing as the exact same resume. That's not how the real world works. That's not how hiring works. But if the idea here is like, okay, you have Halle Bailey, and then who's another young actress that's not African-American that was in that same age range that sings? Like, I guess Ariana Grande, she's a little older, right? Like if you're going to
She's
choose,
older than Halle Bailey.
Then the idea here is like
maybe Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah, okay, so well, even that, then that's still too, like, you're just making sure they're not white.
Right,
like,
exactly.
And look, I don't care. If as long as you don't talk about it, I don't care. But you're going to harp about it. You're going to make it a huge part of the marketing campaign. We've already seen that. The propaganda from TikTok and the propaganda from social media of the people who are like looking wide-eyed at the screen as if they've never seen anyone who looks like them before in their entire lives.
It's just like the Ta-Nehisi Coates Black Superman movie. All we know about it is that he's Superman and he's black.
Yes.
Like, I couldn't think of something, a pitch for a movie more boring than, here's this character that you're familiar with already, and we just made them another race. And that's why you should go watch it. It's also not convincing me.
No, it's not. And also they talk about how they talk about the idea that they're like, there was a certain amount of racism against the casting. I'm like, look, wanting a character.
Rava, anyway.
Not even that, because that's an original character. Wanting a character to look the way it looked originally is not an inherently racist principle. And you do your own argument to the contrary. Like, you do your own actress and your own choice a disservice by minimizing their argument into something that's basically a straw man of what it actually is. It's like, if what you said was, look, we saw a fair amount of criticism against the changes we've made. We know and understand that they go fairly harsh against the source material, but we believe that even though we could have cast a different role, the story of The Little Mermaid resonates, and we believe that this casting is something that will be good for everyone involved, even though we did make a choice based on what they look like.
That's the message that they would choose if they were smart, but instead we get these smarmy, disdain-filled, superior
lies. They're lies.
Well, lies and just like snark. Like, we have Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wrote some of the new music that's going to be in this film, and he's one of the co-producers. Yeah. He's telling critics of their casting to stay mad, and it's just like, the critique was never, you casted a black person, therefore I'm against it. It's,
you changed this character,
you
therefore
changed it with an agenda in mind, which is essentially, we'll hire anybody but someone who looks like the original character. Like, especially with this is like a continuation of the ginger side trend, where any redheaded character has to get axed and replaced with somebody else. it's very peculiar, and we can tell that there's forethought put into it, which makes it inorganic.
I also want to read the first quote from the director. It says, "I wasn't anticipating that because in a way, I felt like we've moved so far past that kind of thing, but then you realize in a way we haven't. It was very moving to me to see how important this kind of casting is for the world." I'm going to point out, like, look, Camila Cabello, Rachel Zegler, even the Jasmine casting in the Aladdin movie got pushback because of she wasn't
what was the problem?
I don't remember. Like, I just remember there was problems with that, and that was far closer.
She
to
wasn't
what it was.
like the same Middle Eastern
Yes.
ethnicity
Okay,
as Jasmine.
We have they race swapped Snake Eyes and made him Asian. Like, even Harry Potter pushed back when they did when she started race swapping characters. We have Johnny Storm, Michael B. Jordan, Heimdall from Thor, Idris Elba. This is not a new discussion, and to pretend like it is disingenuous and actually makes, like, if two things. You either are really bad at your job and have no idea what's going on, or you're just being disingenuous. Either way, we're back at the same place in which I don't trust you.
They want to pretend that they're making leaps and bounds in a civil rights struggle that doesn't exist.
No,
essentially.
Not well. Here's the thing. Like, what is the character of Gabriella? Right. So you could have done Gabriella. Like, believe it or not, I'm 36. I'm a guy. I've never watched The Little Mermaid.
I also wasn't allowed to watch these princess movies as a kid, so I'm not attached to it particularly either.
But Gabriella was a deaf mermaid who was African American or of a POC, right? So you could have done that. Imagine the points if you made a movie based on that's not me saying that they should do that. That's them who love to talk about the progressive stack and how many points can you get on your spectrum of how much have you been oppressed, right? So you would have they love to do things with Echo. Echo from Hawkeye is a character that is deaf and mute. Like, you could have done that, but you want the name. You want to use the Little Mermaid's name. You understand that that's what sells tickets. So you're tokenizing the character for her. You're doing Halle Bailey a disservice by not allowing her to stand on her own 2 feet as her own character. And even somebody like me who's going to watch the movie doesn't really care, but understands intellectually that you're not being honest, takes issue with you not being honest. Just do it. A lot of people will still be mad that you made the race swap, but be honest about it, and you'll at least win some of the people back over to the middle.
Yeah, and I kind of differ from your point of view on race swapping characters that are traditionally portrayed as European descent, because I can tell that it's really not a positive effort to represent people of different races on camera.
Because it would be different characters.
It's a negative project aimed at erasing white people.
Because if it was the other way around, it would be about making new characters. If it's not, it's otherwise.
Or those characters already exist and they're just not utilizing them because they don't believe in their potential.
And here's my cynicism is, like, I feel like it ends up somewhere closer to the middle. Like, you see it as like they're actively trying to erase like Western, like European culture, right?
Yeah.
I see it as like cynically a board member's like, I crunch the numbers and the money it costs to market a new character without any. Look at Strange Worlds failed, right? Like the money it costs to market a new character the way we want costs more than what we'll make in return. I don't know if Joe Schmo 32, the investment banker, or Joe Schmo 32, the movie producer who's focused on the ones and on the zeros. I don't know if he is necessarily out there to destroy Western culture. I think he's out there to cynically make a profit in the easiest way possible, and that just happens to be a way that coincides with the idea of what you're saying, that the activists want to destroy Western culture. They're being used by the people who are just crunching numbers to try and make money.
That side of the issue is not even to mention the fact that they're erasing every aspect of the story that made it so attractive to young girls in the first place.
Yep.
Any aspect of it that is about finding romance and love.
Are they even going to be able to do that in this movie? Or is she going to be a girl boss?
The fact that despite that she had disagreements with her father, still had a loving and protective father.
Yeah.
That's going to be, the nuance on that aspect is going to be completely erased too, because we have to demonize men. Yep. And then they told us that they're going to more flesh out Eric's character so that he also feels displaced from his own kingdom and has a bad relationship with his mother, and he's, he feels like an outcast. And then that's how they connect.
Nobody's ever happy.
Like, no one is interested in a story that is unrecognizable from the one you stole a title from. Like all they're doing is using the name to get eyes on it.
And then hoping that
this isn't
works.
going to be remembered down the line fondly.
Also in the chat, Mikey Taryn says, is it pronounced Taryn or Tehran? Says maybe if they invested in better writers, that wouldn't be an issue. But here's the problem: like you can invest in all the great writers you want, but it would take a lot of movies before they win the trust back of people. Mm-hmm. So like you're gonna have to invest in better writers, and it's like the thing is, movie making is such a multifaceted process that you can have great writers and the movie can still end up horrible with a director and editor that chop the good parts at the end, right? So like there's a lot of it actually is kind of a minor miracle every time a movie comes out good, and a real miracle anytime a movie comes out really, really good, because there's so many hands involved in the process that it's not just the effort or just the fault of one department. A lot of departments have to fail or succeed for something to either work or not work. Mm-hmm. Also, I just saw this and we got so distracted earlier. Where did it go? This is I was looking up the Aladdin story earlier, and I was like, I saw this Aladdin pantomime with white cast and offensive language branded as shameful amid diversity controversy. This is just from yesterday. What is a pantomime show? Is that like this? I didn't even have time to look into it. It's in Canada, and so it was a stage show of a.
So does that mean they're doing it as if it's like a silent film?
I didn't have time to look into it.
They're doing it with music only, no lines? I don't know.
So it says a synopsis on the Panto's website reads, join our hero Aladdin, his mother, widow, and his brother as they embark on a magical adventure and try to defeat the... It's the whole thing, but like, do you just pantomime as you go? I have no idea, but they're very upset about the casting of it.
Well, yeah, race swapping is fine unless you're race swapping a POC character to be white.
You can't
then
go
it's
the other.
racist. Or if you're James Cameron casting for Avatar 2 where they're literally not human, if there's a white actor just providing voice acting and is literally running around with equipment on their body to be edited into a different species, that's still not allowed.
See, I think Waffle Sensei has it best. He says, bring back cute redheads.
Where'd they go? They could have easily casted Sadie Sink as Ariel. That would have been cool to see.
Can she sing?
I'm not sure. I think she might have a past in musical theater, though.
So many singers are becoming actresses now that it's going to become kind of a prerequisite that you have to be able to do both. Like Camila Cabello. Granted, that one didn't work out.
But it feels like less and less talent and work is being required of people in Hollywood because they just go based off of connections and social media influencers.
Yeah, and
which we're going to talk about later. But
it's also really funny. I was looking when I was reading the wiki for Gabriella. I just love the innocence of it. Says her likes being able to sing an adventure. What happened to stories like that? Yeah. Like, why can't it just be kind of innocent nowadays? But it can't, because animation goes right along with the fantasy genre in that they're both ground zero for culture war issues.
They're
because
getting fully hijacked.
Yeah, they influence the next generation. Therefore, it must be hijacked.
I was just watching through the Reimagine Tomorrow event that all of those Disney executives did earlier this year, and one of them openly says, I have a not so secret gay agenda. And she said, I look for every possible opportunity to insert LGBT themes and characters into either the background or the forefront of all the entertainment we create at Disney. Yep. And if anyone will listen, I say this stuff. This exists and it's not being hid anymore. It's not a secret. And it's your job to respond, basically.
And all I want is to just not have movies from Disney that have anything. Literally, I don't want Disney and sexual orientation to ever be in the same sentence. Can you please leave that off there, please? For my sanity and the sanity of literally everyone else.
Think of the children. Once.
Well, hey, look, I may not be a Republican, but
Or think of the podcasters like us who have to talk about this.
Does this stuff get to you? I talk about this with some people talk. I talk to people about the show, and I'm like, look. Talking about stuff that's inherently kind of depressing and trying to be positive, at least analyze it in an objective way or a fun way, and be able to have a look. I want to be able to save fun stuff and entertain the chat and put on I guess a show. It's a show in which we can have a great discussion and give people something to listen to while they're doing their laundry or cleaning the house or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it weighs on you because you understand that there are deeper agendas at play here. Does it get to you?
I think that if something like The Little Mermaid were special to me and it mattered to me, I would be a little bit more emotionally charged about it.
Yeah.
But I was raised in a way that's directly opposed to like feeling spiritually bonded to fictional
material
worlds, you know, like that. Like I
Probably good.
wasn't allowed to watch a lot of this content growing up, and therefore I just didn't care about it.
Yeah.
And I didn't grow up looking for fictional characters to feel represented by. Like,
yeah.
I think that's a totally fictional thing that is forced on children these days. Like, I see these TikTok parents recording their babies and young children reacting to the teaser for The Little Mermaid, and they're crying because they feel represented, not because they're like hungry or want their diaper changed.
Well, do they even have a concept of what that means at that age?
They're just transposing this monumental importance onto these children who really literally couldn't care less.
It's a uniquely adult thing to care about.
Yeah,
like
that's
is not
why Disney
something...
is being adultified, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, what's the opposite of being infantilized?
I saw an article earlier, and it was like the toy industry is like adults are buying more toys than anyone. This is why.
But they're action figures.
Yeah, well, yeah,
they're collectibles.
They're collectibles. Like they're saying, like the toy industry isn't collapsing because adults just aren't growing up.
Funko Pops.
Yeah, basically.
Build a wall of Funko Pops.
That's how the comic book industry has survived for the last couple of years, because at comic book shops, it's very little in the way of comics and a whole lot in the way of collectibles and Funko Pops.
Yeah.
So. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.